Howdy-ho, everyone. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. And I'm going to let you guys know this is probably the last Paranormal Pride of this year. I'll probably be taking off the rest of the year because, that job stuff we were talking about last time that I was supposed to start possibly today, I'm starting next Monday. Long story. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. So, I just figured it's probably best. Everybody's busy with all the stuff that's going on with their holidays. And, I like you guys a lot. In fact, I love having all of you come in and listen. But you need to spend time with your family. Go do that on, next week. Enjoy the football games. There's probably going to be some bowl games coming on too during the rest of the year. So enjoy your time. Come back and see who I've got on the beginning of the year. So now tonight, though, I do have guests. I've been telling you guys I was going to have them, and then I had to cancel. And now I get to have them on. I have the ghost hunting housewives on tonight, and we are going to be talking all kinds of stuff. We have some overlap in places where we've lived, places that we've lived in the past, places that we live now. So it's going to be lots of good information. And you know what? Ask your questions. Come on, people, ask questions. I love hearing the answers because sometimes my questions aren't your questions. So ask questions along the way. So I would like to have my guests come up. I got Crystal and Carol, the ghost hunting housewives.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
So how did you guys meet?
Well, that's a long story.
Yeah. Well, we got an hour and a half.
Well, I had just graduated high school. I was working at a bar in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and Carol frequented there. She was a frequent flyer, and we looked at each other and we started talking about the things that we enjoy doing. And she had also worked at this location in the past when it was a different bar and under a different owner. And some of the experiences, she actually cleaned the bar after hours. And we started talking about the things that we wanted to do. And all of a sudden, we're like, we're going to be best friends forever.
That bar was haunted.
And and it's still very, very haunted location. So we just started talking about places we wanted to go and places we wanted to investigate. And we both loved the historical locations and the folklore that we heard around even Fort Walton area. And, we became that true best friend. And here we are 22 years later. So we've done a lot together.
So what was the name of this bar? Since for those of you who don't know, we live almost straight north of a little bit off kilter from there, but yeah, we're not too far from Fort Walton Beach here.
Yep. The bar at the time was called Club Country. It is now called The Block, and it is on Eglin Parkway.
Being from Baltimore, something called The Block would never.
You would never frequent there.
No, well, some people would. The police did.
It had different cell blocks as well. It had the Hip Hop Top 40 cell block upstairs, and it had the country block, which was the line dancing and country artists, and then you had our favorite side, which was the karaoke block. So, hi, Richard.
Hi, Richard. Welcome. So, but yeah, like I said, if they knew the history of the block in Baltimore, they would just probably fall over. And the one thing that I always noted about that growing up, even as a kid, I thought it was odd that the red light district was a block away from the police department and City Hall. So you had to walk by all the prostitutes to get to the jail or the.
Wow.
And I remember that even from way back when I was a little kid back in the 70s.
Wow. And things have changed. Oh my gosh. It is not, I mean, That to imagine it in the 70s and having those then compared to now,
Oh gosh.
it's Baltimore,
Probably
man.
It is, well, when I was born, there were riots going on.
Okay.
And we lived in a house where you could see the USS Constellation. We lived in an apartment on the top floor.
Okay.
And back in 1980, they sold all those properties for $1 a piece, with the
Okay.
agreement that you would put $10,000 in them in a year and refurb them. The apartment that I was brought home to as a child, my parents' rent was $25 a month.
Oh
In
my God.
1983, that apartment rented for $2,500 a month.
That sounds about normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right there where the old McCormick's was, which you guys probably remember McCormick's being in Hunt Valley, but it used to be in the Inner Harbor.
Wow. I did
Back
not know
then,
that.
it smelled so good so right across the street from Harbor Place is where all
Mhm.
that was.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting place. And
Hey, Mom.
Hey,
oh,
Mom.
there you go. Somebody's got a mom. Actually,
mom.
Ron's mom's in here. Hey, Karen. Hey, Donna. And I'm going to say Facebook user. Hi, Gary. At least I'm guessing. And hopefully, if any of you have any questions, please ask, and we'll get them answered. So Carol, how long did you live in Fort Walton Beach? I mean, if you lived there long enough to work at this place that she worked at after high school.
Yeah. Well, I'm a lot older than she is. But I lived right outside of Fort Walton Beach. It was called Niceville, Florida, Boggy Bayou. And I lived there pretty much my whole life. I moved out of Fort Walton in 2014. So I had been there since the 70s, and then took off and then traveled around, and now we're here in Louisiana. And Crystal keeps trying to get me to come to Alabama, but my husband can't. He has a certain kind of job, and they don't have that in Alabama.
I'll find it.
Every time I say something, she's like, "That's why you should live in Alabama."
Well, there's always a reason to live in Alabama, but there's always a reason to live in Louisiana, and there's a reason to live in Florida. And we all know that those reasons are probably family.
Yeah, well,
she don't have any of that there either.
He has her husband there, though.
Yeah.
Well, he needs to leave too. We're gonna get him to go.
Louisiana, we're here because of work. So.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Well, work and doctors, but they had good doctors. But eventually we'll move. Probably not to Alabama, but
we'll see about that.
Okay.
I guarantee it's going to count on where are the grandchildren.
Yeah, well, they're scattered, so that's everywhere. Tennessee, Florida, Texas. So
all those tax-free states.
I wish.
Well, I mean, those three
we're in the middle of everyone, so.
Yeah, you are. You're actually in a pretty decent place to be able to jump on the road and see everybody within a day's drive. Yeah.
Yeah, because like Fort Walton or Niceville, where my mother and my son are, that's only 4.5 hours. And then my daughter's over in San Antonio. It's like 7 hours. And then, so it's not bad. I mean, kind of in the middle. And Crystal's 5.5. So at least she's a lot closer now.
Oh, yeah.
It gives you all that different places to investigate.
Yeah.
So, but I'd like to thank you guys for joining in on the chat. I'm going to tell you, I am on my cell phone, so everything's really little, so it's hard for me to see. So Carl will be putting your comments up on the screen, and hopefully I can see them. So if I don't get to your question, please don't take it personally. It's because I can't really see them tonight. So, but hello, Angie. Hello, Virgil. And you fell. What? Okay. Can you guys read that?
Let's see. I had an accident last week. I fell into my wife's used knickers basket head first and passed out immediately. I was rushed to the hospital via an air ambulance and thankfully was
Resuscitated.
resuscitated. Thank the
Yep.
Lord. Thank the
Virgil.
Lord. Any thoughts, guys?
You're
I'm
lucky.
glad you're okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very glad that you're okay there, Virgil. And my biggest thought is, wow.
Yeah.
So there's a reason you came back.
Yeah,
So
Definitely.
sure.
Carol and I both have knocked
and
on.
hello, Shane from Outer Realm.
Yes.
Hey, Angie and Shane, love you guys. We've both knocked on death's door, and that brought us even closer. So,
And okay, so what was your near-death experience, Crystal?
both of ours were car accidents.
Oh shit!
Very bad ones.
Oh,
So, Carol hit a pine tree, and I flipped 5 times and spun upside down 6 to 8. So I lost the whole left side of my head, parts of my left arm, and that's where all the scarring came from. And Carol messed up knees, and she had a lot of broken bones. But we both, stared death in the face and said, and death blinked first, not us. So here we are.
We're all broken now, but
Yeah.
we
They
feel,
blinked first. We won.
we feel 90.
well, you're not broken. You're fixed.
Ugh.
You were broken, and then you got fixed. So it's just on how you look at it, bright side versus dark side. And I'm gonna go with fixed.
We're still here for for a reason. So
I mean, I don't remember it some days, but here I am.
Well, sometimes we don't need to remember everything.
yeah.
So,
Definitely.
Gary asks, what are some of your favorite places to investigate?
Historical sites for sure.
Yeah, historical battlefields. We love forts. I mean, forts are one of our favorites. We love jails. Historic jails are another one of ours, but I think our favorite would be the forts. I mean, the history that lies in the battlefields and the forts.
We have a big one coming up in February.
Yep.
And where's that at?
That's up in Blakely, Fort Blakely.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing a double overnight investigation there.
Isn't that the one that's north of Spanish Fort?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm still getting them all down as to where they are. I mean, we have so many forts here that are gone that they talk about, and people will say, yeah, you can go to the property where it was at and you have stuff happen. It's like, but if I can't find it on a map, I can't go.
Right.
Yeah.
And
a lot of the times, the Historical Society, or even you can even go online to the national sites. They have Library of Congress actually has maps from 200 years ago or 150 years ago that you can pull for those locations. We love the forts. One of my favorite of all times is Fort Washington in Maryland. Loved Fort Washington. Had so many great. I mean, everything happened to me there that could happen in the paranormal field. I mean, I was touched. I was cussed. I, had cold spots. It was an amazing place. I truly, truly loved Fort Washington. We did Fort Morgan last year with Second Sight. Had a blast with them. It's just I think it's because, we're military families and we've descended of military. We're just drawn to those locations more than others. And I don't know why we're drawn to historic jails, but we love those too.
Well, that could be family too.
Could be. We are from
it.
the South, so you never know.
In my family, I know why, but it's we had different family members that historically have been incarcerated. So
we may have been in other lives.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those things that you always want to know is any forts or jails of interest in Virginia, Donna asks. And Donna, there is a shitload of stuff right there in Virginia Beach.
Oh,
then
yeah.
you've got add in Williamsburg, Yorktown,
I mean,
Jamestown.
oh yeah, all of that location. That place is full. I don't even know where to even. I mean, you can drive down most of the highways there, and you're going to come across a battlefield or a fort or what used to be a fort. In that area, it's full. Definitely.
My uncle used to. So the Battle of Sailor's Creek.
Okay.
So that's one of Ron's favorites. Okay. My uncle, they lived by there when they were growing up. And when I say this, it was before I was born. So
Okay.
long before I was born. So Donna, Uncle Jack, they lived near there, and Uncle Jack would go there after school every day and would go through where the area was, and he would find relics
Oh yeah.
from different people. This was before it was part of the national park systems, and you could take stuff then.
So you could take
Now
things.
you can't go out there with a ghost meter without them going, get that thing away.
Mhm.
You know. So, but yeah, back then,
Hey, Bo,
that's
love ya.
that's what he did. So, and my cousin Dan, who would go with him every once in a while, he said that there was stuff that happened out there, and Gene wouldn't admit. So, my family, my mom and my dad were both from Virginia. So, so I know a little bit. Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Where were you born in Virginia?
Newport News.
That's near where. That's where my family. Donna's in Virginia Beach. We were supposed to go to Newport News when my dad was killed.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, I wasn't there very long. I was pretty much just born there, and then off to Alabama.
Was your dad in the Navy?
My dad was Marine.
Marine?
Yeah.
My cousin April, that sometimes listens, that's where she was stationed with her husband. They were in Navy, and they were stationed at Newport News.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, see, we got all kinds of things here. Like I said, we're gonna be doing this spirograph thing the whole time.
I know.
So, let's see here.
World.
It is a small world when it comes right down to it. And South Carolina, Angie and Shane say South Carolina too, the start of the Civil War. And hey, Rosalie and Virgil, your comment is really long. I had an accident we already saw that you had an accident last week. I don't have, Virgil, to be honest, I don't have anything else to say other than you were lucky and that there's a reason why you're still alive. So I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Carol, same question to you, back to, favorite places to investigate.
Yeah, we're the same. We're both history. Crystal, she's like really big on history. She knows her stuff. Me, I'm like, I have hold on, wait, let me think. But you can ask her a question. She's like, boom, oh, that happened so and so. But yeah, the forts and jails, things like that. We have a lot of activity pretty much every time we go to a fort. I don't think there's one that we've been to that we didn't capture something.
What's your favorite fort then?
Mine would
Carol, what's your favorite?
Mine would be Fort Morgan. Yeah.
We haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely
we need people
a
to go
location. Call us up. We'll go. We had so many a day and night there. It was phenomenal. We got ectoplasma. I mean, we got ectomist. I mean, not ectoplasma. I saw the green pop up, and the first thing I thought it was plasma. But we got ectomist in one of the cells there. We didn't see it with our naked eye. We went back and we were looking. My camera did not catch it. Her camera did. And we were like, what is this? We had anomalies going towards the K2 meter. You could see them crawling towards it. It was amazing. We had some pretty cool experiences there.
We have some videos of that actually on our YouTube too. I think the ectomist is one of them that's on there. I mean, we were shocked. We were like, wait a minute. We were just laying there on the bed looking at stuff, and we couldn't go to sleep when we gotten back. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what is this? We were
And
both
we
like, wow.
we had
That
been
whole
there
day was
for
crazy, even
it
before
was.
we hit Fort Morgan.
We got there early day because we love going to the locations, doing filming, scouting things out, just doing a quick overview of the locations. And we were like, okay, we're going to check into our condo. So we did. And we were going to go grab us some lunch. And as we did, I made a wrong turn down a dirt road. Yeah. And so as I did, we were like, oh, this isn't right. Let's turn around. So we turned around, and as soon as we did, a snake crossed our path. And then we had a dustbuster whirlwind that went in front of it. And we're like, oh, this is the start of how our day is going to go and our night too. So and it did not disappoint. It definitely kept going. We had a apparition that we caught when we were leaving the tunnels. Carol was followed back to the condo. The same apparition that we believe we caught actually followed Carol and was playing with her toes. So,
Okay, we're not going to get into that.
She was getting her toes played with, and so she's like, "You got to cleanse me." And I'm like, "Okay, we'll do it in the morning." No,
We did it. We cleansed everything. The cars, the gear.
Well, the funny thing is, you said you ended up down a dirt road. It's like that's the only thing off the sides of those roads. I don't remember there being hardly anything paved off that back road. Because we went back there, and we went back to the ferry as far back as we've been. And we were just checking out the ferry. And we knew that it went over to Dauphin Island back then. Mm-hmm. But we didn't go. A couple years later, we stayed over on Dauphin Island. We still didn't take the ferry, but we did check out Fort. I always want to call it Fort Gaines. I don't remember if that's what it's called. But we checked out that fort, and so now we have to check out Fort Morgan since it's on the other side, and then we've been to Fort Pickens. Yeah. And so
back in the day, I got a lot at Fort Pickens. Gosh, it's been 13 plus years since I've been out to Fort Pickens. But about 2 years after Ivan hit was the last time I was there. But
that's funny. That is so funny. Everybody counts everything by Ivan.
Yeah, that's a Florida
thing. The trees in our neighborhood, that's what they point to, and they go, that's from Hurricane Ivan.
Pretty much.
Like, I thought it was Bigfoot. I'm sorry. I just thought it was Bigfoot because they just kind of...
We had, after Ivan hit, it looked like a war zone for months. I didn't have power for 3 months. So for it to, the only location that had power in places that we could actually get some air conditioning was the bar. So we spent a lot of time there.
That really hurt our feelings that we had to do that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we came down. We came down here we went to Destin the very first time right after Hurricane Ivan. It was a year after. Okay. But it was right after Hurricane Dennis.
Okay.
So I worked for Sprint at the time. I was the disaster contact. And if you guys remember back then, Sprint was your local telephone company down in that area.
Isn't that the ones that took over our Nextel?
I think so.
I think Sprint the one that took over our Nextel.
Yes, Sprint.
Only thing
Sprint
that
took over Nextel. And then the long story short is that broke the company up, and we became Embark, and Sprint stayed Sprint, and now they're T-Mobile, and Embark is now Lumen. So
we liked our beep beep. That was pretty awesome. That was like for that day technology. It was cool. We loved it.
It was back. It's strange when you look back at it now and go, that was 25 years of my life. Yeah. Doing all that stuff. But
and it worked though. Sprint kept us going during those hurricanes and tropical storms, and
I was the person that all your technicians were talking to get all the stuff to the locations so that they could keep your service up.
Oh wow. You were the one.
I was the disaster contact for Sprint back in the day.
Wow.
So
Man.
that was my job. That was one of my favorite jobs of all time, was knowing that I was helping people.
Okay.
Nobody knew I existed.
Thank you
But
for helping us, because
Yes,
we
thank
had a
you for
lot
doing
to talk about.
uh, so Angie says, I live in the low country near Sea Islands, and the Gullah culture
The
is
Gullah
heavy
Gullah.
around here.
Yeah, the Gullah culture. They're great. We love Angie and Shane. They have a lot of great locations over there. And there was actually a location in, correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, that they did that was the Gullah culture. And I don't know if you remember, gosh, 30 years ago, there was a show called Gullah Gullah Island. And
Yeah, I do remember.
that is what the Gullah culture is built off of. But there's a lot of, I mean, Gullah culture is a lot like New Orleans, and a lot of hoodoo, voodoo, and things of that sort. So
I don't remember it, but I'll have to look it up. But
Mhm.
Angie and Shane, I was also the person that took care of your guys' hurricanes and disasters that came through South Carolina and North Carolina back in the day too.
Yeah,
There's only-
is St. Helena. That's the one I was thinking of, Shane. And isn't that the one you guys got rained out on? It's a great location. Another really good location. We can't wait to go over there.
I am looking forward to checking. I have never been to South Carolina.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Been to North Carolina, never been to South Carolina. My son-in-law's family lives in Pickens. And
Okay.
yes, I know there was an event there last April that I didn't go to, but that's because we were buying this house so we could move here.
Aww.
So needless to say, we were going to go to that event because my son-in-law's mother lives there. And we were wanting to take the grandkids to see their other grandmother. But, it is what things happen the way they're meant to.
We were supposed to be going as well, and we got picked up before we were offered the location in South Carolina event for next year. And so we were already under contract with Louisiana Spirits, and couldn't make it to South Carolina in the coming April event. But
We'll
the
be
Haunting
there.
at the Mill is a great event that we want to give a shout out to Brandon Cooper. So
Yeah.
we love our gnome. And,
Yeah.
sorry we can't make it, but we still love you.
We'll
Well,
be there for the next one.
it is what it is. So you went to
is.
the last one. You're not going to this next one.
Yeah. We didn't get to make the last one, but
Okay.
he wanted us to come in for this one, but we were already under contract with
Okay.
Louisiana Spirit.
So maybe the third year.
Yeah.
We're hoping so.
That
We're
was funny
hoping
because
He'll have us.
about a week ago, KD sent me a message and he goes, give me a call. I said, can you talk during the day? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, so can I now. And I haven't taken him up on it. I've just been so busy with all the stuff, trying to get ready to go back to work. But it just makes you laugh when he's going, call me. I'm like, okay, I will. But I mean, I've only known him 9 years. So before he was famous for anything.
Yeah.
So
great.
they're good people. And
that's Beard Envy Nomeo, Shane. That's what we call Brandon. Beard Envy Nomeo.
He's a ghost hunting housewife.
He's a ghost hunting housewife. And so is Angie and Shane.
Yeah.
They love us too. So
they all have shirts.
I miss talking to Brandon. He used to be on this network and I miss him, but I just don't have time. He can call me. He knows that. In fact, he has.
Yeah.
Just haven't had time for anything. But you guys understand that. You guys are so busy that sometimes you don't have time for the other stuff.
And that's it. And that's what, we're a 2-person team. And, as much as we want to go to all of these locations we've been invited to, and to investigate with all the people that have invited us and the Paracons, we can't be in every place and investigate all these locations. But we're grateful, and we love that they thought of us and that they want us there. and we will eventually get it on the books to these locations that we've been invited to. And but we are going to be having hopefully get Brandon up here to, or down here to Alabama in the spring, because we're working on an event in Oxford, Alabama. That
Well, let me know. Let me know about it.
Yeah.
And let us know. We'll advertise it during the shows. Make a little infomercial, and we'll share it. Get you some. I mean, we're not that far away.
Definitely.
And so the people in the area, once I tell people, get to knowing people and all that, I tell them everything. I'll go, hey, we got this event coming up, or these people have an event coming up. Go check it out. It's truly what?
Yeah. I said we tried to do the same thing for people, and that's what, like our Facebook group page, GHH Buzzing on the Booze. We kind of made that so people can just, post all their events and things that they have going on as well.
I saw that. I saw that you guys are very promotional.
Yeah, we love helping everybody that we can, and advertising, and even if we aren't going to be there, and they need our help, do our best to try to get you some people coming to it.
It's important. I mean, I'm not going to say para-unity. It's just be nice to people.
That's it.
I mean, that's it. It doesn't have to be paranormal.
Common courtesy and respect.
Maybe being nice to everybody is paranormal. I don't know.
But I have we definitely we try to help, but we also don't allow people to cross our boundaries either. We have put plenty of people in their place when it comes to us, females in the paranormal field. We've had people talk down to us, throw alpha complex at us, because we're two-person women team, 2 women, dynamic duo, whatever they want to call us. We are that. And we just love helping anybody that we can. And we don't allow people to throw us around, talk down to us, or be negative to us, because I got a big mouth. I mean, Denise knows I'm very loud and I'm very obnoxious. But
I'm not going to say obnoxious. You were not obnoxious, but we could hear you.
Yeah.
Your voice carries, and it carries well.
It does.
And where we were at, it needed to.
Definitely. I try to be loud and to let people know that, don't be afraid to come up and talk to us. We're just happy-go-lucky people.
There were a few people that seemed a little timid at that event.
Yeah.
So, but where we were at, not so much. Yeah. I just wonder why that table between you guys and Kat never showed.
He did. He was the one taking the pictures on Second Sight. He actually investigated with us at Fort Morgan.
Okay.
He actually went to the wrong table or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he ended up moving to the wrong table, and he's like, I'm already set up. I'm not leaving. So.
Yeah, I think she had that set up well.
Yeah.
Most of the paranormal people were in one area, and then the other stuff. I mean, I've already had on from that event. I had on one of the hypnosis specialists from down in Fort damn it, doesn't matter, from down here in Florida. Fort Walton. So yeah, I had them on, and on the other show that we do, and it ended up being one of our better shows. And it had nothing to do with paranormal. It had everything to do with hypnosis.
Yeah.
And that's, the metaphysical part of things, and hypnosis, and in summary, a little bit of everything comes together when in the paranormal. We've got a little bit of this, and we got a little bit of this, and we have some people here that have gifts, and we've got people over here that don't, but they love what they do. It's just, I want the paranormal community to be a place where people can come together. They're not judged. They're not treated wrongly. We come across a lot of people in the paranormal that field and community that have a lot to offer, but they're treated wrongly. They're talked bad about. They're not given a chance. And that's where we want things to change. We want to help people. We want to teach them how to use the equipment. We want to teach them how to research locations. I got people that come to me 5 or 6 times a week asking me, "Hey, how do I find this historical information on this house?" And I'll give them a list of places to look for, people to contact. We can help each other,
Yeah.
but we also got to remember that there's a lot of people out there that you have to set boundaries with. And
Yes.
if you don't set those boundaries, they'll leech your energy and they just suck it right out of you. And you can't allow that.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about the stalkers.
We do
Honestly,
have
I
some
don't.
of those, but
We have some of those.
we do, but I actually had to go off on him, and now he calls me feisty all the time. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're the feisty one."
Well, mine was a lot darker. We'll talk about that later. So we did have a question from Gary. He asked about what's your favorite equipment?
Well, I'll probably sound biased because I'll have to say our REM pod.
Our REM pods, yeah, we love our REM
Yeah, I
pods.
remember you showing those off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carol makes them there in her sunroom in her lab.
In my mad lab.
In her mad lab. She makes REM pods, and she comes up with quite a few other things. Right now she's working on something that isn't quite where we want it.
Yeah, it's got me throwing it at things.
She keeps throwing it against the wall. It'll eventually work.
Yeah, but has one. Yep.
Yeah.
So what's special about your REM pods?
They're just I mean, you see a lot of people make them, but ours is a little bit different, and ours are, I guess, I don't know how you would explain it. I know a lot of people will make some and the batteries are on the outside. Our batteries go on the inside. Ours are real sturdy. Plus, I don't know, I'm kind of OCD.
Yeah.
So if every little thing on it is not perfect,
trash. About him again.
Okay. Yeah, there's gnome boy. Yep, there are gnome boys out there.
Brandon.
He pops in there every time I say his name. He's just like, "Oh, I'm here."
So Angie and Shane say that it's small, compact, and easy to pack, and it's reliable.
Yes.
Very much so.
Maybe that's your marketing now for it.
Yeah, it's one of
good
those
marketers.
Yeah, it's one of those to where we want to make affordable equipment, something that's not going to cost $200. Yeah. And you can grab it on the go, and I carry mine everywhere. I have one that I carry around in my big old mama purse.
I think equipment should be able to be stacked, like if you have something that you should be able to put it on 1, 2, or put it to where you can, darn it, to where you can use 3 pieces of equipment at one time. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things, you see people with all these jackets with all these compartments in it, and they pull them out, but you only have 2 hands.
Right.
So something to put the equipment on, like, okay, so I'm thinking of something like the SLS, people have this little stand that they hold it on. Put little place for all the equipment. So Brandon, take that back to Katie and tell him what Denise said, and he'll go, there he is.
We've actually had some things that we do that with. We have camera rig setups, but instead of it being for a camera, we use it for a grid pin here, RGB lights, or something like that, to where you can have multiple devices, and we use it on little tripods. We offer that as well. We have tactical grid pins, and we offer tripods, and they fit on them. And, we try to do something that is easy, compact. We can carry it around where we need to. We're not having to lug around. Again, it's just 2 of us. So lugging around, 20 Apache cases, and it just isn't.
Yeah, it gets to be ridiculous, and there's only so much equipment you can use.
Yeah,
And there's only so much that fit in each one of those cases after you get foam in them, so.
we have,
And then you've also got the other thing, the extra weight it adds to your car.
Mm-hmm.
To get worse gas mileage, makes your trip more expensive.
That's it,
I'm always like, I'm just taking my backpack.
And Brandon, that's not true.
It doesn't get used.
Brandon, you may be short, but you're not small and you're not compact. Yeah, you're not going to fit in that little box. So, but
we'll make you a box, Brandon. We'll print you out one.
It's got to have a seatbelt though. Got to hold him in, because he does get a little crazy out there.
He bounces.
He bounces. Is he like a weeble? We're going to go back in time. The weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah. Just we're all knocking around like this. Or like, what I'm thinking? Like, those blow up
Bobo the Clown.
They had? Yeah, but they had like these punching bags when I was younger, and they had a little stand in the bottom, and you put air in it, and you pump it, and then just weeble around like the weeble wobbles. Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was Bobo the Clown.
Okay.
And it had the sand in the bottom, but it looked like a clown. And that was, eventually they got to where, hey, this is offensive. You're hitting a clown. You're hitting a person. And that's when they came out with punching bags that don't have any personality. Hey, Crystal. Hey, April and Judy. I know you're there. Let's see who else besides Brandon. Hi, Diana. Diane Hickson.
Oh, that's Mom.
That's Mom.
And hey, Cassie, so sassy. Thank you for the good wishes for the job. I saw that a little while ago. And long story short, you probably already know that there was a cyber attack on the state of Kansas. So especially since you're in Leavenworth County, you probably do know. So, but when it comes right down to it, you guys just love the paranormal, and that's how you bonded.
That's it. I mean, that, and
we have a lot of.
We're attached. Like our energy is connected. She can be thinking something, and I'll be researching it at the same time, not even knowing that she's doing the same thing. We'll have pains. Yesterday she called me and she's like, "Is your shoulder hurting?" I was like, "Yeah, my neck too." She's like, "It's your fault." So we have.
Could you stop it today?
I know we have this major connection, and a few others have actually looked into it for us, and they state that we have lived 7 lives together. So we've had 7 lives together, and we aren't just best friends. We're like sisters from another mister. And, we've been through a lot together. She had a car accident. And then I had a car accident, and it was almost, identical in the injuries that we had and the things that happened to us, the experiences that we had after the car accident. We've just continued to have things that just many people say are unexplainable.
Yeah.
We're just connected.
Or we're scary.
We're scary.
There are some things that are scary, but what you said something before the show, and shoulder pain is a symptom of what she has.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, we can have the same ailments. Like if she's having a headache, I'll start getting a headache. I'm like, I'll call her up. I'm like, "Are you okay?" Things happen, and we just instantly know that something's wrong without, we can say all the way down to what happened and what the emotion is that you're feeling from her, or that I'm feeling from her. But we've been that way 20 years. I mean, 22 years of being best friends and 20 years of doing this together. It's just, we're connected.
We click.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole different meaning these days than it was back when you started.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love you, Judy. And I know Donna loves you too. So go back to work. Love you. So she works a lot. Sorry. A lot of my family comes in to listen. So
We did say, Brandon, that you were a ghost hunting housewife in the beginning. We called you. That's why I said I knew that you were going to pop in here because I said your name.
his ears were burning.
That's it. Every time I say his name, he's like, "Here I am. I'm here."
Like I said, I miss talking to him, and I know that doesn't last long. I mean, not the missing, the not talking doesn't last long. So it'll happen again. So, so what is one of the places that you guys would love to investigate?
Scotland.
Yeah.
I want to
And
go to
Sweet
Scotland.
Scotland and Sweet Springs.
Hers is Sweet Springs Sanatorium.
I don't like the owner of Sweet Springs Sanatorium.
Really? Hmm.
She's treated me badly in the past.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Hmm.
Just me personally. You
Yeah.
know, it's in West Virginia.
She is.
It's in
She is. Since the first time, she's just been drawn to it.
Yeah.
There's
for some
something
reason.
about it that has just drawn her, and she's like, "I gotta go."
Yeah.
So,
If-
but
Every time
hers
I-
is a little more feasible. We can actually make that happen. Mine, I don't see it happening for a few years. So.
Eventually, maybe we could sell
I
like
can
a
do it.
million REM pods.
Just have everybody send you $1.
Yeah.
If all my friends would just send me $1, I'd had $5. No.
Oh, I might have $2.
And the thing is, we know
Some
that's
of our
not
friends
true.
will take some of those, and some of those people we know they take the money back, and we'd be left instead of having 5. We got 2.
So, yeah, and I agree with you. I would love to go to Sweet Springs, but like I said, unless something changes, it's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just I've got a thing about people that say negative stuff about other people that's
Yeah.
unfounded.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
and
don't. deal
I
with
know
that
you guys
either.
don't.
We don't.
Yeah, we like try to stay out of all that, and we just
Yeah, I stay out of all the drama. And if I know that there's drama going on, I just ignore it and move on.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
whatever's happening doesn't involve me, so I don't need to be in the middle of it.
Exactly. We
So-
are.
It does involve me.
Exactly.
I nip it in the bud real quick.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I always know what's going on without even looking. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
like you two knowing what's going on with each other. I always know what's going on. And I
Yeah.
just, and you can, I mean, if you go back and you look at stuff, you probably go, she must have known something then because she avoided this person.
Right. Well, we're pretty
And-
good judges of people ourselves, so
There's a lot of places that we won't go to as well for the same reason.
yeah.
We stay away from it. It's just like
Yeah,
nope.
I just don't give them the negative talk either.
Right.
You know, I don't give them the positive talk. I don't give them the negative talk. It's just, it is what it is. And so I just went back on that by doing what I just did. But I haven't heard too much about Sweet Springs because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't
but-
know much about it.
I know more about it from way in the past. You know, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
my family lived in West Virginia for quite a while. In fact, they were just showing Bluefield, West Virginia on TV. And I told my husband, I said, I used to live there when I was a kid. And he looked at me, he goes, I didn't know that. And it's like, we lived all over Virginia and West Virginia
Yeah.
for years and years. My grandfather was a coal miner and my
Okay.
dad was a draft dodger.
My pop was from Bunker Hill. So
okay.
you know, we spent every summer. I was raised by my grandparents. So every summer growing up, we were in Martinsburg area, went to Harper's Ferry often. You know, most of my family ended up passing away with black lung and lung cancer because of all the stuff.
My grandfather.
Yep. So know about that. You know, it's just West Virginia. I love some of the locations there.
You know, it's funny. My mom went to Harper's Ferry. I never went.
I love Harper's
And so it's on one of the places that I want to go to someday.
My mama said before she passed away, and she was right. Harper's Ferry, which is like a lot of places today, isn't what it used to be. It used to be, I mean, amazing. the things that they had there, the stores were still the same as they were in the early 1900s. Everything was in a time capsule. It was amazing. Come around the turn of the century, here we are. It started going into a different direction, and we got to experience it from the 80s into the 90s and into the 2000s. But my mom quit. We just quit going after a while because it wasn't what it used to be. But I was, lucky when I lived in Maryland to be able to spend some time at Harper's Ferry and remember things as in my childhood and the things that I saw and the historical things that I got to experience. So,
Yeah, another place that's different than it was back in the 70s is Gettysburg.
oh yeah,
The buildings are still there, but the stores are so different. The people are different. Even though the roads are the same, it's weird. It used to be Gettysburg popped up in the middle of nowhere, and now there's a whole city there. A giant food store and all this other stuff that you're sitting there going, "We're in that. This doesn't look
hotels." That place, the hotels, is like row after row after row of hotels there.
Yeah, we stayed right there at the Budget Host, which is teeny tiny, but I was excited because I got to stay by Friendly's, and my first job was Friendly's ice cream. I used to scoop ice cream for my first job.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, that was the best part, was that I got to have Friendly's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Hey, I'm there.
She loves ice cream.
I love ice cream.
And that was my job, was scooping ice cream. I was a scooper. And but I have memories of that place growing up. I got my tonsils out. We went to Friendly's, and you know why? Because of ice cream. They tell you can have all you want. I had ice cream for breakfast one morning, and so it is different than what it was. Even the tours say different things than they used to say back then. And I don't know if it's because they found more truth, or they found it was more interesting to say it this way.
Yeah.
But I remember going in the orphanage on a field trip, and I was 12 years old, and I was the weird kid. So I knew what I was seeing, and I had kids, dead children saying, "Come here, come here." Yeah. And of course I had to keep walking. You couldn't stop and visit with them in 1977. It's like I said, I was already the weird kid. I didn't need to be the weirder kid. And so when we went back in 2017, it was so totally different. So you're looking from 77 to 2017. That's how many years? 40 something years. It's different. Oh, yeah. And I told him, I said, I remember when they took us on these field trips and you could go into the Eisenhower home. They would walk you through. They would walk you through all these buildings because they laid off all their park rangers. You can't get into half these buildings anymore.
Yep. So now they don't even allow, going out in the night. You can't go out there at night. You can't unless you're on a tour. You can't do a lot of things that you used to be able to do. Antietam, same way. A lot of things have been ruined, I would say, and taken away from a lot of paranormal because people want to go in there and sabotage things. Samuel Mudhouse, that is a big one. Those who have been to Maryland know about the Samuel Mudhouse there in Southern Maryland. He was the one that fixed up the leg of John Wilkes Booth. And until 2019, we were able to go in there and investigate, and had blast doing it. 2019 rolled around, people were vandalizing, causing problems, and things they don't allow it anymore.
What's that sound?
I don't hear anything.
Huh. Okay.
I heard
Yeah,
like a
it sounds like tinking. Ting, 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 ting. Ting, 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 ting.
I don't hear anything.
it might be my
Huh.
speakers.
No, I would hear that.
Who knows?
I've heard that before.
Oh,
I
Maybe
even
it's
had
my
to
cell
turn
phone.
my fireplace off because it was getting hot in here.
Okay.
So-
So Angie hears beeping. So Angie and Shane. So one of the weirdest things for me was back in 1970, probably 77 as well. I broke into and I don't advise this for anybody. I was 12.
Statute of
okay?
limitations up, everybody. Just gonna throw
I'm
that
12.
out.
I broke into the Edgar Allan Poe house in Baltimore.
I love the Edgar Allan Poe house. That's one of my favorites. Yeah,
Yep, I broke into that. It was before CCTV, so they couldn't see who it was. There were no alarms.
Like
But-
Crystal said, statute of limitations is up, so don't get any crazy ideas, people.
Yeah. Well, they were going to tear that down.
Oh, really?
Baltimore was going to tear it down. They put out a petition, and a whole buttload of people signed it, and
Not surprised.
somebody gave them a lot of money to keep it up. But people don't realize there's multiple Edgar Allan Poe homes.
There are, because
Yeah.
he had summer homes. He had quite a
I saw
few
that,
different
Crystal.
ones. But and that's something that I can say, being from the South versus the North. We're going to throw that out there. The North, they love their history and they love preserving it. The South, not so much. They're like, tear it down. We don't need it. Let's build another Dollar General.
Yeah, how
What are
many?
you talking
that-
about Louisiana?
I
'Cause
have
we
to
only have
say,
$50
I
million
agree.
Dollar Generals.
We
is-
have within 5 miles. We have $5 Generals.
Mhm.
Same here.
We go past 2 to get to 1.
I've got 2, and I only have 1,500 people that live in my home in the town I live in. So
I have
we have
just
2.
right outside my neighborhood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
I
got
mean,
one on either side. Take a pick.
yeah, we're sitting here looking at this. We got Dollar General down here. We have the market, and then you got another Dollar General down this way, and another one out here. And I'm like, how many do you need?
Mhm.
We have a Dollar General and a Family Dollar right next to each other.
And they're
on 90.
merging with Dollar Tree. So now you're going to have Family Dollar with Dollar Tree and Dollar
Yeah.
Generals. And
Well, we already had that. Our old town had gotten that, and it's not that great.
yeah, we don't have that yet here in
Yeah,
my
they've
area.
started doing those, and you can tell because one side of the store is green and the other side's red. And when you look it up and try to find out, hey, what is this? You look that up and it comes up with Gucci, and I'm like, that's not Gucci. This is it was not good. So
But that is that's how spending as much time living in the North compared to being from the South, and majoring in history, being historical research, genealogy expert. It is so much different in the North, how they actually care and want to preserve their history. In the South, I've got someone I'm working with over here in Alabama, and they didn't want her to take and turn her home into an Airbnb. They would have rather the city take it over and tear it down like they did the other 2 houses on the other side of her, because the historical significance to that home, they don't care about. They would rather it just disappear.
now, see, I understand that in places like Pensacola.
Yeah.
If it's been torn up so bad by a hurricane that they can't rebuild it, I can see that. But knowing that they have a church built in 1530 something downtown,
Mm-hmm.
apparently it's not that bad.
Nope.
When it comes to hurricanes, and these are wood buildings. I mean, I'm amazed at these wood buildings still standing after 300, 400 years.
Yep.
And, but you go down the road down here to Destin, and some of these brick hotels didn't make it through Hurricane Ivan.
Nope.
Yeah,
So it makes you wonder, I mean, what did they know? I mean,
Mhm.
I know that where I live now currently, we know that most of those buildings over there were probably built from trees from Milton.
Probably. And there
Because
was Most of my family originated and they're from Milton. They were
Oh,
some of the founding families of Milton. So know all about that. There was actually a logging company or two that my family worked for back in the day. Granddaddy ran moonshine down 90, but he never had a driver's license until the 1970s. And he was 92 years old and they forced him to get a driver's license. After 92 years, Santa Rosa County said, "Guess what?
Driving.
You can't drive without a driver's license." He said, "Take me to jail. I've been driving this long." That one. And so Granddaddy went
if
to
he
jail.
wasn't driving, he didn't need one. But
Granddaddy
he was probably still driving
without a driver's license. So there's actually newspaper articles about it. He's sitting there inside the jail and everything. It's really great.
Yeah, the first thing I found out about Milton was the serial killer that's buried in the graveyard down the street.
Yep.
That's the first thing I found out about, and found out about some other things because I had talked to Erica from Second Sight.
Yep.
And I already know her, so it's not a shock. And then Rob Booth, we've talked to him. He was just on the other day, and it's amazing the stories that you hear. So basically, when we found out, we decided we were going to move. I just went out and did a search on paranormal teams. Tell me why I need to move here. This is what I kind of did. And, they've talked about the Imogene Theater here, but I'm more interested in the Exchange Hotel. I think that it is probably going to have a lot more activity than they're getting at the Imogene. Guy was murdered in their parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened. There's a lot of people that passed away in the 60s and 70s there as well that no one ever found out where they went, what happened to them. And these are just, stories that were passed down from my grandmother that raised me. There's a lot in Milton, and there's a lot that happened there in the 50s and 60s and 70s, even on into the 80s. That was never solved or was never spoken of. And that is definitely a place that has some dark history there. Some very, very dark history there in Milton, Florida.
You probably don't even know half of it.
No.
Right. And then it's such a big area.
Mm-hmm.
They consider it Milton almost to the state line, going north, and they consider it Milton almost to Navarre. And I'm like, this is a really long, it's a big area they're trying to figure out.
You got to go past the Tum Thumb on 87 and you're in Navarre. Go north the Tum Thumb.
I know. Well, they just added some new crap on 87. They got a new Sefco. Looks really nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, looks really nice there. It's just down the street from.
Can y'all hear all
I don't know. We drive down there all the time.
Yeah, on Eastern. Yeah.
So for us, it's just, hey, this is the fastest way to get to the beach.
Yeah.
Without a toll road.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So,
I lived there off of 98 and across from the Walmart in Gulf Breeze for a while. So, yeah.
Oh, so did you have a bumper sticker that says, I hate 98?
Oh, I hated everything about 98. As soon as I could get off, and that's how I know what Eastern is. Because if I could take that north and go around, I would every single time. I couldn't stand going 98. And it was even worse before they fixed it at Hurlburt Field. I wouldn't say fixed it, but since they changed things at Herbie, once they changed things at Herbie, it's a little better, I hear. But it was, I drove all the way from Gulf Breeze to Okaloosa Island every day for work.
Yeah, we saw that they had rerouted the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier to get through there than it was, 20 years ago.
Most
but
definitely.
That's all, like I was telling him, I said, the only thing we can do is look back 20 years ago because we never went this whole way before until recently when we went to Rosalie's wedding, so, and she's in the chat maybe still.
I got pictures from the 80s somewhere. I'll have to pull those up.
Like I said, I was there the year after Ivan, and the only thing I can remember is I drove back from Destin into Fort Walton to go to one of the central offices for Sprint because I didn't have a laptop and I had homework I had to do for school because I was a mom going to college.
Yeah.
So I had to go into the central office to do my homework.
Oh, Destin
So-
traffic. Ugh.
Yeah. So
Awful
in
the war zone. It was, I mean, we ended up getting back. I mean, I was at my grandparents' house in Ozark, Alabama, and we got back at night, and it was devastating to see all of the stuff. I mean, boats in front yards and across 98. I'm like, it was something else. You know, especially the island. So
yeah. It seems like the dunes are a lot higher than they used to be.
Oh, I wish
they
it was
were
how
they were
it
flattened.
used to be.
They were completely flattened for
I know. And
quite a few storms. They just, I mean, all the way across 98, they were gone.
I remember going to the beach as a kid. Oh, it was so much
They were-
fun.
Yeah.
The dunes were just huge. We used to
Massive.
ride down them on like they called them skim boards. They were kind of like a
Mhm.
surfboard but smaller. And we used to
Mhm.
ride down that. I miss that. The beaches were so beautiful back then, and
Mhm.
now there's just like nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
Buildings.
now you're getting a ticket
Brick and
for
mortar.
trespassing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You can't
So-
even go on half the beaches. It's ridiculous.
No, you've got this little slim space that you can go to, and
Yeah.
that's it. And you know, for people like me, I just like to walk. I like to
Yeah.
walk the beach, and all you can do is pace. Oh, I'm serious. Because they got security guards.
Yeah.
You know, Santa Rosa County is a little odd, but then you add in, I don't even remember what county Fort Walton's in,
Okaloosa.
but Okaloosa.
Yeah.
Well, you got Walton County that doesn't have Fort Walton, and then you got Santa Rosa County, which doesn't have Santa Rosa Beach. It's like,
It's
Okay.
it's a mess. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
it is.
We know
And
what you
then-
mean, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, you got Escambia County. You go one way, you got Escambia County. You go north, you got Escambia County.
County. Yep.
Yeah.
And they're two different states.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'll figure it out someday.
Maybe.
No, you won't.
We
No,
might change
probably
it.
not.
You won't.
But you figure I'm smart enough to know this, and I've only been here almost 6 months.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So-
good.
Yeah.
That's really good. You know, I can say, like, even when we were there in September, this is the first time I had been there, I want to say since 2009. And
wow.
oh, it had changed. It had changed. It has changed so much. My oldest was actually born in the Old Baptist building. There.
Oh, okay.
Not
And
the
we got the new
one.
hospital just
I
opened.
know. I was like, man, I didn't have that nice thing when I gave birth to that kid.
Uh,
That big old
Well, and
baby.
they said that Baptist was haunted as well.
Yeah,
And they
I
said
was
the new one
actually-
is too.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
When I had her, my room was just outside of the helipad there in the Old Baptist Hospital. And it was, I mean, some strange things happened in that room. I was there for 5 days because I got a post-op infection. And it was kind of crazy. I was like things would start rolling across the room. I'm like, is this because is it falling in, or is somebody moving this?
Am I on drugs?
Am I on drugs? Like, what's going on? So like the table, I had one in the room there, and I had a bedside table is what it was. It was the hospital tables that lift up and down, and it was sitting perfectly fine for hours. And I was the only one in there, and it was slanted sideways because I don't like anything covering my legs or my feet. And so they had it moved to the side, and it just started rolling. And I was like, I called Carol. I was like, what's going on, Carol? Beep, beep, come over here. I need you to come to the hospital. Things are moving.
Crystal, are you drugs?
I have a similar story, but mine's from Kansas City.
Oh, really?
And I was at the St. Joseph Medical Center in South Kansas City, Missouri. And Ron actually just told his mom this story last night. I'm in bed, and they had me hooked up to Pitocin, and and everything. So I couldn't get out of bed. I had everything was all hooked up over here, and the crib was on the other side. It was a cradle. And the nurse walks in and says, "Honey, you shouldn't have been out of bed." I looked over at all the crap on me and I said, "I didn't get out of bed." And she goes, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, my grandma's here visiting." And she looked around and the cradle's still rocking. My grandmother had died 4 days before.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was during my grandmother had just had her memorial service. And here I am, I just gave birth to a baby at 7:30 in the morning, and here's, grandma's visiting. And that nurse turned around and left. She never came back in that room.
Yeah.
And then last week when I went to the hospital, I was having a really bad migraine. I didn't know what was wrong. And I'm in there and they asked me, "Are you suicidal?" I said, "No." And he goes, "Are you feeling homicidal?" I said, "Maybe." I said, "From my family history, it's very possible." And he goes, "What's your family history?" I said, "My grandfather was a serial killer." He never came back either. So, but it was near the end of the shift. It's like it was near the end of the shift. So, and they were really busy. But I just thought it was funny that I've had that happen twice. So
we
where
I worked in ERs for many, many, many years, and even Ozark, Alabama, the medical records room. This is back when we had paper records. It was above the morgue. That was the scariest place in that whole. I was like, I ain't going in there by myself. I'm not going to get those records. You better get a security guard to go with me. Things would fly at you, scratched it along. We had one girl that was working with us, and she got scratches all the way down her back when she went to get medical records. And that place, it's got some dark stuff, dark energy stuck in that place. And
I
then I
think
ended up
a lot
getting
of
fired from
hospitals
there,
do.
so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of hospitals do. And I don't know if it's technically dark or if it's just confused. Because most people, when they go to the hospital, they're thinking that they're going to survive.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Think a mixture of both. I mean, especially the things that we see come through the emergency departments. We have a mixture of both. We have good and we have bad. And it doesn't matter which one, we still have to put all of that aside and do everything that we possibly can to save, whether they were good in life or whether they were bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing is no matter what we had come in, no matter if this person tried to take the life of somebody, we still have to do everything we possibly can to save their life.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this balance of good and bad in hospitals. And, like you said, they go in there and they're not aware that they're not going to leave. Some of them thought they were going to get to go home, and the next day they didn't. So
yeah,
it's sad, and it's one of the places that we had an ER back in Kansas City at Menorah Hospital, and every time I was there, I see this guy. And one time I'd said something to the lady. Of course, I was really sick. I just needed distraction, so I focused on this guy really quite a bit back in 2018. And I told her what he looked like, and she said, "Oh my God, that's my dad." And it's like, out of all people, why should I be talking about this?
yeah.
And I described him, and she said it was her father. He had died in the ER, and she was the person checking me in. It wasn't.
Oh, wow.
So, and she goes, "I always wondered if he was here."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is odd. And then I felt bad for saying anything, but she came up to see me in my room after I was put in a room a couple days later. And she asked me some questions, and I answered as best as I could. And she was like, she goes, "It just had me wondering, was it really my dad?" And when I told her all these other things, I mean, I had a collapsed lung. I wasn't moving. You can't do anything when you have a collapsed lung. You're too tired. You don't care. You don't have time to look shit up on the internet to tell them stuff. So, and I was drugged. I mean, I was heavily drugged. And I just know what what I saw.
Yeah.
And that same night, that night after she came to see me, there was a code blue. I didn't know it, but this lady died and she was in my room and I was talking to her, and they had come by and closed my door. And later on that night, after they had done doing everything they had to do, and I said something about the lady dying, and they go, "How did you know it was a lady?" That's why they closed the door.
Oh.
So I wouldn't hear everything that was going on. And I said, "Well, she was in here." And I said, "She aspirated." And they go, "How do you know that?" And I was like, "I don't know." I know how I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Others don't
But I'm not
understand
gonna-
it though.
No.
Many don't understand it. I mean, my entire life being raised in South Alabama, my grandparents were like, "Don't ever tell anybody who you see and who you talk to." Because I'd be standing there as like little 2-year-old sassy me, and it's like pointing my finger and telling them what for. And as a child, it was Carol and I both had gifts and experienced things. My grandmother always said, "Don't ever tell anybody. Don't tell anybody outside of this house, because they'll think you're crazy." And
Mhm.
that's one thing that I had to. I mean, it wasn't a block for me, because I was able to freely talk about it to my grandparents and my family members. But I remember going and running through the house when I was like 4 years old, going outside, defend myself because my sister was going out there to tattle, and my name was called. And I turned to the left to look down the hallway, and there's the older man that frequented the house. And I was sitting there telling him, defending myself and defending my honor. My grandparents walked in and it's like, "Don't ever tell anybody. When you go to school, don't tell anybody. You can't talk
I
about
was told the same thing. And Carol, you were told that too?
Well, no, I had never really talked about nobody knew really, but we grew up in till I was about, I think 5, we lived in this house in Andalusia, Alabama.
Mhm.
And a very, very old house. And a lot of weird things happened there. And but I wasn't the only one that saw it. So I didn't really talk about anything because everybody in the house saw that. And the things that I experience now, I never really experienced them like I do until after I had my car accident.
Oh, okay.
Something happened during the accident, which
it was the person that was telling you it was going to be okay.
Yeah, which Crystal had the same person.
It was the same exact guardian or, whatever she had, I had, and I called and I said, "Was this?" And I gave a full description. And of course, we had to confirm that we had the same one.
Yeah. And I don't actually see things. I feel things.
Is it possible that you guys are part of one person?
We've thought about that actually, because she, with me, I have sight, so being clear, and I have hearing. So I have clairaudient, and she has claircognizant. So she has actually gone into a location and felt how someone died. We were at the Marshall House in Savannah. She walked into a room and instantly pain started causing her to, almost double over in pain. We had to call some of our people and, get confirmation of what I was getting from that room. And I was getting someone died of, they bled out from an ulcer. And we, I didn't tell anybody. Carol and I are the only ones that knew that. So I called to get confirmation from one of our friends over in Ireland. And he's like, she's sitting in this chair and she passed away with gastric problems and she ended up bleeding out. So Carol and I were like, wow, spot on, got confirmation. So as soon as she would leave the room, though, she'd be fine.
But that's why I always say I get picked on, because usually wherever we go, I feel what happened.
And I go to sleep.
She goes to sleep. And sometimes I'm scared to death because it's like, they're picking on me again. Why?
And I'm
So,
asleep.
yeah, and she's asleep. So I always say that I get picked on when I go to places because I can tell you how someone passed. And
And
sometimes it is scary,
yeah,
but
and I think it's because she was, in her 30s when things just slammed into her after her car accident.
yeah,
Where me, I've had my entire life
yeah.
to work through and know how to, control and help um, myself through these things. So with her, hers happened later in life, and I think that's why with me, I can just go into a location. I'm like, all right, time to go sleep. Deuces out. I'm out. Then just go
Like,
sleep.
well,
And she's
there
like,
was
Crystal,
people
wake
over here trying to rip my arms off, and you're going to sleep. Like, I have all the lights on, the TVs. I'm like, I'm being tortured, and you're over there sleeping, having a good old time.
Yeah. Hey, Lisa. So we have had such a fast hour and 20 so far.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wow,
I know that Carol's not feeling the greatest, so I don't want to keep you on too long. But where can everybody find the ghost hunting housewives?
We are on all of the social media outlets, and every one of our about sections from Facebook to TikTok has our link tree. So anything that we have coming up, any events that we have, we try to put those in that link tree. If we're doing a fundraiser for a historical preservation or restoration project, we will also have those in our link tree as well. But you can find us on all social media platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X. I have to remember it's not Twitter anymore.
Still call it Twitter.
So
I have to say I may have to get on X because I got off Twitter.
Yeah.
Years
we don't
ago.
do anything really. Like we'll post something up there and we'll say hi to a few people but we just let it do its thing. We don't really have to do anything on there. It kind of does it for us. So
Well, he is the king of AI.
yeah, he's pretty smart.
Yes, he is. He's smarter than the average CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah.
That's why I have Tesla stock.
We do too.
I don't have a Tesla. I'm not buying one of them.
No, I think they're
No.
ugly.
Huh?
I think they're ugly.
I'm not a Tesla fan.
don't
I don't
them.
care. Only reason I bought stock is because it makes money.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw something one time about those. Even if you own one and the Tesla thinks it's time for new tires, it just like automatically orders them for you. And I'm thinking, could you imagine how much that costs?
I don't even want to think about that.
I don't know, but I don't.
Yeah,
I
I don't
know
want anything to do with all that. Just I got me a brand new Chevy Blazer. Nothing electric about it. Nothing smart about it. It is pretty smart, but it's not.
I
Tesla.
don't want my car bossing me around.
Yeah, pretty much. I can mute mine.
If you wanted a kit car, you'd have gotten one, right?
Right.
Actually, they had something on TV about this morning on Barney about the kit car.
Oh.
How about the smart car. And I told Ron, he goes, I never watched that show. I said, me either. But everybody who did watched it for David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a very good storyline, but it's not like cars are that smart, but they're getting to the point to where cars are going to be self-driving. And I'm like, at least maybe they won't be paying attention to their phone if they're self-driving. We don't have to worry about people.
Yeah, they'll be sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some now that you can just, set into a location and it takes you there.
Yeah, that's what I told my
husband. Like you're going down the road and you see somebody sleeping. Their car's still driving and they're just
That'd be my husband.
Yeah, the self-parking cars is the part. I'm like, how hard is it to pull in and park? Nobody really does parallel parking unless you're in Fort Walton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in that downtown part there, when we went through there, that's the only place I saw any parallel parking.
Yeah.
So I don't get it, and I'm not going to. I'm not getting an all-electric car. I'm smarter than that.
No, I mean, they're forcing people to now. They're forcing you have a date to be able to have a complete electric car.
Ain't gonna happen.
I like my Blazer.
Yeah, they can't do it. I mean, back to research, there's no way they could do it. They don't have the ability to run as many cars as we have on the road electric. No infrastructure.
No,
So
not at all.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm
And
not.
the car makers are now coming back and saying we can't do it.
Mhm.
April, I don't have
now
any
we're
idea.
waiting 13 and 14 months for vehicles. People who are
I know.
buying them and having them built. My Blazer, I ended up having to drive 2 hours to get it because the one here in town was going to take longer than I wanted to wait.
Mhm. Yeah, we're looking at Toyota hybrid.
Camry.
Camry in
That's all.
2025.
That's all we're gonna make this time.
Like,
Yeah,
So, and
she's got
Toyota's
the
not
4Runner.
making all electric.
no.
We run
Yeah,
on gas.
our country is. Yep. So, April, we'll talk.
Not all this.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I'll give you some ideas who it might be that's bothering you. So, but I'd like for everybody to go check out the Ghost Hunting Housewives, and check us out tomorrow night right here on Born TV, Bill of Rights Network, wherever you're finding us. Keep coming back. You'll see me, Carl, and Ron tomorrow night right here. And I don't know what we'll be talking about, but we'll talk about something, and we're going to have a fun time. Bring some questions. We'll talk about whatever you guys want us to talk about. I love it. I love just talking about anything and everything. And like I said, there'll be no more Paranormal Prides this year. I'll be back the first Monday non-holiday in January. I think it's the 6th or 7th. 5th. Huh. I don't know. Is it New Year's on a Monday?
I'd have to look at my phone.
I
Isn't
think
that
so.
hard?
Yes, because our first podcast of the year is on a Tuesday and it's the 2nd.
Okay, there you go. So whatever, add 6 to that, and then you go. I'm using my phone for this, and my calendar's on the phone. Ron just told me the 8th. So, and I'll have a new computer by then, so we'll have all that sorted out. So I would like to thank you guys so much for coming on. It was
Thank
so
you
much
for having
fun.
us. We'll do it
And
again.
Carol, I hope you feel better real soon.
Thank you.
And
It has to. We got a big investigation this weekend.
Yeah, I got an investigation this weekend, so
She got to drive all the way to
Jumping-
Alabama.
maybe jumping jacks.
yeah, something.
That sounds like fun. Can you record that?
So join us here. Come back and join us next week never mind. I give up. I can't talk anymore.
We'll
So,
do it again.
Join us
Denise.
tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central on Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. Me, Ron, and Carl. And if I find us a guest, great. If I don't, great. We'll figure it out from there. So you guys all have a great night, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Hanukkah. Whatever it is that you're celebrating, know that we're celebrating with you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye, guys. Thank you.